We announced a strategic partnership with NVIDIA 2 years ago, and we have made remarkable progress. Now, I'm super excited to welcome Jensen Huang, President and CEO of NVIDIA. Welcome, Jensen.
Thank you, Raghu. I'm delighted to be here. We've been working together for so long, and this particular project, particularly that we're going to announce today, is a project that's very close to my heart, and we've been working on very, very hard. So I'm delighted to be here to talk about it.
Yeah, you and I have talked about the future of the data center and the central place. This thing we're going to talk about is going to come about. But before we get to the DPUs, right? Let's talk about your other favorite topic, AI and AI in the enterprise. This again was a collaboration we announced some time ago, and bringing your AI stack on top of our platform. And today we've got customers that are deploying NVIDIA AI in the enterprise, in the data center, and together we are changing the world of enterprise computing. 2 years ago, at a VMworld, we announced that we'll be bringing AI to the enterprise. And today, customers are deploying NVIDIA AI on VMware's cloud platform, running their AI workloads in the data center. And together, we are changing enterprise computing and helping bringing AI to every enterprise. And we also announced Project Monterey. It seemed like yesterday, but 2 years ago, reimagining the data center architecture and meeting the agility, the performance, the security requirements for running these next generation applications. And our engineering teams are working together very, very closely on fulfilling this mission. And so today I'm excited to announce the availability of VSphere running on NVIDIA DPUs, formerly known as Project Monterey.
Yeah, it's really quite amazing what we've accomplished in the last 2 years. The mission and the vision is to recognize that this new modern workload called artificial intelligence and the way that software wants to be developed and deployed in the world's enterprise and clouds are fundamentally different than the past. And that in order for us to accommodate this new and bring this new way of doing computing to the world, we have to reinvent the data center altogether. This was really a partnership that was really made in heaven. And the reason for that is because VMware is the operating system of the modern enterprise. And we wanted to bring a new type of computing, AI computing, to the world's enterprise, where the AI engine, if you will, of modern AI workloads. And when you think about this particular vision, you have to take a step back and understand, what is AI about? It's about, of course, a new way of developing software. And as a result of that, the computational method, the deployment method is so profoundly different that our two companies had to re-architect the data center from the ground up. And today's announcement is really a celebration of 2 really intense years of engineering activity between our two companies. So I can't tell you how proud I am of what we're about to show you, what we're about to tell you.
That's great. Speaking about AI, you've said it, right? It's the most powerful force of our time, and it's becoming mission critical to every enterprise. You and I have talked about it 5 years from now, or 5 years ago, just like nobody talks about a database-enabled application. Nobody's going to talk about 5 years from now, an AI-enabled application will just be assumed that machine learning is part of every application.
That's right.
And you have brought about a full-fledged AI solution with from workflow to development to deployment. And it includes your software that's now certified on the VMware platform with Jensen from a full Kubernetes and containers and VMs. So it gives customers exactly what they want. The best in AI managed on the platforms that they trust. And better still, you can run AI not in some dedicated silo, but you can run it alongside your mainstream application workloads. So you get better efficiency, you get better efficacy, cost management, overall management, all in the data center. Together, we are democratizing AI for the enterprise. Just a simple example, right? Carry Along Clinic. which is one of the largest healthcare organizations in Virginia. And they're using your software on our platform to future-proof hospitals. They care for over 1 million patients, and they're using AI to accelerate their image processing using your software.
Well, AI is surely transformative. In fact, AI will revolutionize every single business. There are no businesses in the future that will not be using machine learning, will not be transforming the data of their company and their industry and harvesting intelligence from it and deploying it at scale. Those companies simply wouldn't exist. So every single company in the future will be an AI business. Our work together is really about transforming how every company could develop and apply AI. Now, we're working on all kinds of different AI applications, from computer vision to speech AI to conversational AI, natural language processing, recommender systems. Companies are harvesting tons and tons of data and refining it, discovering predictive models from it, and essentially becoming AI factories. The AI factory, every company is going to have AI factories in the future, and the data centers that are these AI factories, the way they operate are fundamentally different than the way they used to operate in the past. If you think about an AI application, unlike the enterprise applications of the past, where you have many users running on one particular computer in a virtualized manner, in the future, AI applications have to do two things. Large amounts of data has to be processed, and as a result, an enterprise data center would run distributed high-performance computing applications on the one hand. On the other hand, the applications that are then deployed with Tanzu, Kubernetes, is a disaggregated application that distributes across and scales across the entire enterprise. Yeah. And so on the one hand, a modern enterprise is going to be a distributed AI supercomputer. On the other hand, it's going to be a disaggregated data center running applications that are essentially hyperscale. And this behavior, the ability for a data center to adapt in this way, on the one hand, do AI processing to learn the models, on the other hand, deploy and scale these AI applications across the entire data center. This particular characteristic is very unique to AI. Yeah. And this was the grand challenge for our computer scientists. And this is what Monterey has really enabled. The ability to simultaneously, on the one hand, be a high-performance computer, on the other hand, be a hyperscale cloud computer. Yeah. This capability is really quite unique and is really groundbreaking. So I'm super excited about that. NTT.com is another example of a great early adopting customer. They're one of the world's largest telecoms, as you know, and they have multi-tenant data scientists that are across the company that would like to be able to use their infrastructure. And our collaboration makes it possible for them to easily do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you pointed out, the idea of having the virtualization and the VSphere software running in a DPU is essentially what makes that distributed computer and the distributed hyperscale computing possible inside of the enterprise. And that's why the DPU and Project Monterey is such a fundamental advancement for VMware. And it is the centerpiece of our vSphere 8 software release, which we are announcing today. So if you think about the DPUs, it's not just in the data center, right? In fact, a lot of machine learning is going to happen at the edge with autonomous driving and cashierless stores and modern manufacturing and so on and so forth. All of that is going to be in the edge and, like you pointed out, in the data center as well. So DPUs play a pretty significant role in this new infrastructure architecture to accelerate performance, to free up the CPU cycles, and certainly, most importantly, to provide better security, which we should talk about some more. And we have re-architected vSphere to fit on the NVIDIA DPU so that we can offload processing of software-defined infrastructure tasks like network processing, like storage processing to the DPUs, right? And now you get accelerated I/O, and you can have agility for developers because all of that storage and network processing is now running in the DPU. Now you have the entire cluster of CPUs to run this distributed workload that you talked about, whether it's containerized or in a VM. That's the power of the DPU.
That's exactly right. In fact, I would say that vSphere 8, and I've been a customer and a partner of VMware for decades, and I would say vSphere 8 is the single biggest launch of all the vSpheres since the very earliest ones. And the reason for that is because it transforms the way that computing is done in an enterprise. If you look at the work that we're doing, this is high performance computing in a virtualized environment with all of the benefits of virtualization, the management of it, the security of it, the ability to move and orchestrate workloads with agility, the utilization of your data center because of vSphere, because of the work that VMware does, has increased tremendously for all of the world's enterprise. Here comes this brand new application that is a high-performance computing application that sits on top of the software-defined data center that VMware revolutionized. However, high-performance computing and virtualized environments, as you know, are historically like oil and water.
Yep.
And this is the big breakthrough of vSphere 8. You've given us the ability to do virtualization at data center scale for distributed high-performance computing applications like AI model development, as well as containerized deployment, disaggregated computing to scale out an application from cloud to on-prem to the edge. This ability to do so with vSphere 8 is really, really revolutionary. And what made it possible was the recognition that there's a new type of processor that we're going to introduce into the data center for the very first time. NVIDIA Bluefield is the DPU that Raghu, you were mentioning just a second ago. It is essentially an accelerated computing platform that is designed for the infrastructure software of data centers.
Exactly.
Today's data centers are software defined, networking, virtualization, storage, and cybersecurity. All of that is sitting in software in the data center for all wonderful reasons. However, that software stack, that software layer, takes away from the computing resources that we need for high-performance computing applications like AI. And so with Bluefield, we've been able to offload, accelerate, and isolate essentially the operating system of the data center off on a new type of processor called a DPU. And as a result, freed up all of the CPU resources and all the GPU resources available for computation. The benefits, and I think that this is what all the companies discover. The return on investment, the benefits that vSphere 8 with NVIDIA Bluefield will be so fast because it frees up so much resources for computing that the payback is going to be instantaneous. It's going to be really a fantastic return.
Exactly. You put it very succinctly. The operating system of the enterprise is sitting on the Bluefield DPU now, freeing up all of this capacity of the core CPUs to run traditional workloads, modern workloads, containerized workloads, etc. The other beauty of this architecture is you can reconfigure your data center at will. You can take a regular server, all of a sudden, through the magic of connecting it to the DPU, now you get all these advanced storage and networking capabilities on demand as you need it, right? So this ability to make the data center very fungible is also uniquely enabled by the DPU.
Thank you. I'm actually supremely proud of Bluefield, and I'm so excited about the revolutionary benefits that it's going to bring to the modern enterprise. And as part of a computing infrastructure that spans edge to prem to cloud, I absolutely believe that in the future, every single data center and every single server will be powered by a DPU. And it's going to enable the operating system of the data center to run in an isolated and accelerated way.
Exactly. Speaking of isolation, one of the critical ideas that VMware puts forward to our customers is the idea of intrinsic security, having security baked into the platform. And with the DPU, now we've not only got the vSphere code base running there, but also the NSX code base running there. Mm-hmm. So now for the first time, you can handle east-west traffic, the traffic going between applications on the CPU cores at line speed and impose security without breaking up anything.
That's right.
So that, again, is something that's possible because of the DPU architecture.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The security aspect of it is so important. And the reason for that is as we modernize the applications in our data centers, and it runs in containers across an entire data center so that we could scale it out, it's now disaggregated, it's running distributed in a distributed way, and it's all being orchestrated by Tanzu and VSphere 8. The amount of east-west traffic, as you were mentioning earlier, is going to grow exponentially.
Exactly.
And east-west traffic from microservice to microservice, container to container, is going to open up the attack surface of companies fairly significantly as a result. And this is where NSX running on Bluefield is so vital. And the reason for that is because, of course, perimeter firewalls was a great invention, but in today's multi-tenant, cloud-native, disaggregated application scaling out, the amount of east-west traffic is so significant, the attack surface is so many, that we essentially need to put NSX no longer at a data center scale or a cluster scale, but we need to put NSX literally within every single computer.
Exactly.
And this is where Bluefield and vSphere 8 with NXX running on Bluefield is such an incredible revolution. We're essentially going to have a firewall in every single computer.
Exactly, and protecting every single container, and in the future serverless, and you name your architecture. As the unit of compute becomes smaller and smaller, the amount of communication between those units of compute is, like you pointed out, exponentially going to increase. So you literally got to have, it's, in my humble opinion, it's not going to be possible to do security without something like a DPU.
That's right. Sitting
on every computer. And the last but not the least, in addition to, by the way, the security is not just going to be about the firewalling, it's going to be about the encryption as well.
That's right.
Right? And
we're going to encrypt everything on the line at line rates.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the power of this. And you got to be able to manage all of these things together. And that's where the rest of the vSphere architecture comes in. The beauty of what the vSphere engineers have done is they have not changed the management model. Mm-hmm. Now you can manage the DPU just like you manage the server, with the same vCenter, with the same DRS and vMotion, all of those constructs. And so it can fit seamlessly into the data center architecture of today while enabling the future to come about.
Yeah. You know, I tell you, vSphere 8, Bluefield, the work that we did together with NVIDIA AI Enterprise. We now have a stack for AI computing.
Yep.
We have a brand new way of deploying applications, whether it's the classical enterprise applications, monolithic, virtualized, to distributed AI computing, to disaggregated AI deployment, with security at every single node and every single transaction, to be able to scale this out at a data center. You know, Raghu, we've reinvented enterprise computing in a big way.
Yep, absolutely.
I am so proud of vSphere 8. I'm so proud of the work that we've done together, and we can try it. This is just the amazing thing. You could try it now. We have this thing called NVIDIA launchpad. They're basically cloud servers that you can come and enjoy. It is powered by Bluefield, vSphere 8, NVIDIA AI, a whole bunch of workloads that are on there. You can come and try it and reach out to NVIDIA, and we'll get you set up so that you can try this. At NVIDIA.com, you could sign up for this vSphere platform running on NVIDIA Bluefield DPUs. And so you don't have to procure it. You just, in order to try it, you don't have to set it up. Just come to NVIDIA Launchpad and we'll help you enjoy it. So try vSphere platform with NSX on NVIDIA DPU, Bluefield DPUs today.
I can't wait to try it myself. This relationship has been a phenomenal relationship. Like you said, it's born out of deep engineering collaboration between the two companies over foundational technologies. The AI stack that you bring to the enterprise, our vSphere 8 technology, and of course the DPU collaboration that is coming to fruition today in the form of vSphere 8. And this is just the start of the two companies. I'm sure we've got a lot more to talk to our customers about down the road. So thank you so much for the collaboration. Thank you to your engineering team, and thank you for being here.
Thank you, Raghu. And, I wouldn't have missed it to celebrate one of the most important new breakthroughs in the computing industry. It took two companies, our two companies with such deep computer science capability, to really reinvent enterprise computing for this modern era, where AI is going to be central to every single company in the world, where cloud and multi-tenant cloud, hybrid cloud development and deployment is going to be vital to every single company, where the way that we develop and deploy software has been profoundly changed because of the way that we would like to scale out our enterprises from cloud to on-prem to edge. All of these, and because, of course, we like to be have zero trust architectures and be secure enterprises as we allow our employees and our customers to enjoy our companies in a multi-tenant cloud environment. And so this reinvention, this redesign of the data center is going to be really, really profound. And it's been a great privilege to work with you, and great pleasure to work with you. And our engineers have worked together so closely over the last couple of years and so intensely. I want to thank everybody for trying it, and I think you're going to really love it. And this is a very big moment for enterprise computing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Raghu.